Hello. I am WriterMaven, host of the Wrestling Receipts podcast. Y'all know I talk about Judgment Day, Dom, Liv, Raquel, Carlito, Finn, JD, then Damien and Rhea if I need to. This is impromptu. And hello, chubby boy. I love it that you call me queen. Thank you. You're making me blush. Um, this is impromptu, so this is a Wrestling Receipts extra. Um, I wasn't going to talk today. I was going to try either save it for tomorrow or even Sunday when more things come out. But this week has been such good content for Liv and Dom fans. We knew that Liv was going to Mumbai and India, but we didn't know that Dom was going to go with her to India. So we have been bombarded from yesterday to today of all these pictures and video of Liv and Dom in India. And it is just so gorgeous looking. Like the pictures today of Liv in her saray and Dom in traditional dress, they're just gorgeous pictures. People were just thinking that this was AI because those pictures were so good. People were just thinking that this was AI because those pictures were so good. They're drinking drinks, just looking very stylish. Everything today was just perfect. I woke up to that of just seeing these pictures, and it was just so good. Yesterday, we saw them with their interviews. That's when we found out that Dom was in India with Liv, and it's just nice to enjoy Liv and Dom content. This is why I always say when people wanted to bring in Raquel, do not blame Raquel for Liv and Dom moments. Now, would we like to see a lot of this on TV? Yes. We want to see this on official WWE television, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, PLEs. Yes, we want to see that. However, we are still getting this Liv and Dom content. We know this was for Netflix because WWE is going to start broadcasting on Netflix in India. So you're gonna be seeing, you know, in India they're gonna have the Raw, SmackDown, PLEs. So we know that if this was a media blitz for them. But still, we are still getting so much Liv and Dom content. And this is why we shouldn't be blaming Raquel for preventing any of this because this was just them. Raquel was nowhere to be found. Carlito was nowhere to be found. Anything like that. This was just them. It's a media blitz, but still, it's still good content. And yes, Alex, we do need to blame Triple H. The blame always stops with Triple H when it comes to booking and content. It doesn't go anywhere else. It's Triple H and his creative team, but the buck always stops with Triple H. But like I said, this was just really, really great. And as I was commenting yesterday and today, it really tells you how booked and busy they are, and they're sitting all over the place. Now, this is where I start getting annoyed with Triple H, as Alex brought up, because Liv and Dom are doing this blitz. We're on the European tour. They've been on in Europe, now India, for pretty much 2 straight weeks, and I'm pretty sure they're probably maybe flying home maybe tomorrow or Saturday or something like that, and then they'll have to be turned right back around and be in what was it, Minneapolis, on Monday. No, Chicago. No, Chicago is Friday tomorrow. They might have to be in Minneapolis on Monday next week. So they got to stay on the road, not probably going home until maybe next week sometime. Maybe they might be able to sneak home, um, maybe Saturday or something like that. But they might have to stay on the road. And so you have them doing all this stuff, all the media, doing the live events. Liv is wrestling, Dom is wrestling, doing the media stuff. We saw like Liv and Dom doing like a little bit of question and answers for what was it, WWE Deutschland, which is Germany. We saw all that. Um, we had all they have to do all that, and then they turn around, they go to India, and they're doing all that. And I'm pretty sure we're going to see some more content either come out either late tonight or early tomorrow morning. But you have all of them doing that, and what is the one who's supposedly carrying the company doing at this particular moment? Not a damn thing. Yeah. People are probably going to accuse me like, why are you bringing Rhea into this? Because Rock pretty much said that she's carrying the company. Do I see her carrying the company doing all this shit? No. I am going to hold that against her. Um, I'm not really, this is more not me really holding it against Rhea per se. It's me holding this against Rock for saying that and putting that in her position and the WWE as a whole. Because if you're going to be saying that Rhea is carrying the company, I need to be seeing Rhea do this shit. Like, Cody is carrying the company. We know Cody carries that company. We see what he does on live events. He's going in the ring. He's signing the weight belts. He's bringing the kids into the ring. He's walking around with them. You know, if they have a really cool American Nightmare gear, get up, clothing, anything like that, he's bringing them in the ring. He's helping. You know, he's giving them stuff, photo ops, signing stuff, signing pieces of tables, signing pieces of the turnbuckle. He's doing all that. That dude is putting the WWE on his back and doing stuff. That's Cody Rhodes. And then another people that are carrying the WWE right now are CM Punk. I mean, he may not go to the extreme of Cody Rhodes, but CM Punk has been doing a lot of stuff, especially for somebody that has such a big, huge wound considered from the WWE. CM Punk has been doing a lot of stuff for the WWE too. Like, he's been out there, he's been wrestling. He goes down to NXT and helping out the new people, the younger generation coming up, giving them advice. He's down there in the performance center doing all that stuff. CM Punk is doing that. He's helping out the newer generation coming up. Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is kind of an outlier, but he's been out there. He's been the workout horse. He'd be out there wrestling, even though he's been injured and he's kind of lost a step. But he'd be out there busting his ass doing stuff. He might not do all the media blitz, but he's out there wrestling, being that workhorse. Roman Reigns. The man speaks for himself. Now, we give him a pass because of his illness, but it's not like he wasn't busting his ass all these years prior to being the OTC. You know, Roman Reigns was out there busting his ass. He was out there taking all the shit, dog shit, literally. When he became the tribal chief, he put the WD on his back and ushered in the new era, along with Cody Rhodes, the new era for the WWE. Roman Reigns did that shit. So we have all these people: Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns. You can even throw in The Rock, but Rock is Rock and he gets on my nerves. But he Rock kind of throws everything into chaos, but he at least he contributed to a lot of this stuff. And then we have the other people, we have other wrestlers as well that be on the road busting their ass. But what do we see with Rhea? Nothing. And at this point, I really don't care if she has anxiety. I really don't care that she might be dealing with some injuries or something like that. If she's injured, then she shouldn't be out there. If she has anxiety, she probably needs to figure it out or get over it. I'm sorry. I don't like to say that about people, and I know, and I have my own anxieties. I have my own social anxieties. I get it. But if you're going to be talked about where you're putting the company on your back, they say that you're carrying the company, then I need to see you putting the company on your back. Like, I need to be seeing these media blitzes. Why is it that you, the one that's been, that's supposedly the pop machine and getting all this hype and getting all the gooners, the gooners that are probably going to hurt you more in the future than anybody else, like wrestling fan wise? Why is it that you're not doing all this stuff? You show up, you wrestle, okay. But then when you do wrestle nowadays, you're botching. Somebody on the X had a really good point with Io with Sonya Deville. Now, I love Sonya Deville, but she wasn't the best wrestler, but I loved her. So, why is it when Io had that bad match with Sonya Deville, she, Sonya was raked over the coals. She was, she was talked about badly. I was there, like, you're like, I mean, it was a bad match. You couldn't excuse it. It was just a bad match with Io. And with Io, she can have a great match for pretty much anybody. Good matches and then great matches. But Sonya was raked over the coals and talked about badly for that match. Now, these past two matches with Rhea with Io Sky, it's just been botches and it's not good. This is why I keep saying people need to be careful about everybody wanting all these dream matches with Rhea because they've been failing to live to expectations. Same thing with Becky. Becky was sick, but it wasn't a good match. It wasn't the best match. Like it's not that dream caliber match everybody was expecting. So now y'all want to have this dream caliber match with Bianca Belair? Like what happens if it's just a subpar match? Are you going to blame Bianca for that? It's like how everything just slides off of Rhea, and it's getting to a really annoying point where these gooners, I'm just gonna call these Rhea Stans gooners, these gooners are they just excuse everybody. Whereas if anybody else had been in Rhea's position where she's botching with Io, then they would be raked over the coals. If it was Liv in there that botched with Io, she would get raked over the coals. If it was Bianca, it was with the Naomi, if it was any other women's wrestler, they'd be raked over the coals. So you've had all this time, and then Rhea has been on the live events double stacking people, so she doesn't have the excuse of her not even wrestling to say that she has ring rust. I saw people trying to say that Rhea has ring rust. Raquel had ring rust. Raquel, she was the one that was out for so long with her skin condition, and she's just now getting back into the groove of things. But a lot of her ring rust came from having to look like an idiot for Rhea. Now that she's away from Rhea, now she can do her power moves. She's getting more fluid, and you don't see that ring rust anymore with Raquel. She's getting better and better. She's the one that had ring rust. Rhea, when you just been on a live event tour where the two previous days, Saturday and Sunday, double stacking Liv and Raquel, and then smacking your ass with the kendo stick, then you want to turn around and then have that match with Io, and then people want to say you have ring rust. Bullshit. So this is why they need to be careful with how they present people. If you're going to present Rhea as carrying the company, then she needs to be carrying the company. I do not need to. Why am I seeing Liv and Dom, even though I love it? Now, this is my point to all this. Why is it Liv and Dom doing all this booked and busy, doing all this press for Netflix India? And I'm pretty sure Netflix India probably requested them, but still, you know, they're doing it. I know Rhea was in Netflix in India. What was it? Last year or 2 years ago? 2 years ago, she was in India. I think that was for Sony Live. So she did that. But why? But that was during this whole thing where she was getting built up. So she was doing that 2 years ago, but nowadays she's not doing it, and she's still saying that they're still saying she's carrying the company. Meanwhile, you have everybody else doing all the heavy lifting. Like I don't want to hear those comments. Like if you're going to be said to be carrying the company, I need to see you busting ass to carry the company. It's not fair to all these other people that bust their ass. That I that's just what's getting me today. Like Liv and Dom looking gorgeous, doing all this blitz, but then I start thinking in the back of my mind that I know they're exhausted, and they're doing all this where we're hoping that, and it looks like it's going to happen, but what they're looking exhausted, they're doing all this stuff. Meanwhile, as fans, we're hoping that Dom gets into the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania, because that's not official just yet. And then we still don't know what Liv is going to do at WrestleMania. So they're doing all this, and we're just hoping and praying that they get into WrestleMania into some significant matches. Like y'all, they're putting the WWE on their back, and we're hoping they get into WrestleMania in a match. Meanwhile, Rhea is over here throwing a temper tantrum. They're saying she carries the company, but she hasn't done jack shit, and she might get in this triple threat match. Make it make sense. And hell, even Io and Bianca aren't doing that much, but at least with Bianca, I know she did the media stuff. I can't really hold Bianca not doing much because I know Bianca will be out there doing all those media stuff because she has done that. Io is kind of different because of the language barrier. So that's why I was saying that it should have been like this triple threat should have been set up like that. If they wanted to just Rhea and Bianca, just let it be Rhea and Bianca. Io, she can only say so much with her limited English, and that's not a slight to Io. It's just how it is. And then Rhea can't carry a promo, and Bianca is barely so. But then who carried that segment with Bianca and Naomi? It was Naomi. And yeah, Alex saying Rhea developing a character. And to go back to Rhea somewhat, it's like with her crazy character, because they've rewritten her crazy character for for this Liv and Dom stuff. Now that they're doing it now, where you're looking at it like where things don't make sense, it doesn't hit the same way because they've rewritten her history. So if they hadn't rewritten her history and she was going crazy now, it might hit differently. But since they were trying to rewrite everything, like Cole warning Rhea about Dom and things like that, then when I see her doing it now, it just feels like it's just a continuation of them trying to rewrite history. But and now people are still calling out. See, this is what happens. People were so hell bent on blaming Liv for all this, they wouldn't listen to our complaints and our bitching about this feud with Rhea. But now that Liv is out of it, now they are seeing the problem. Like people are saying now, well, Rhea kicked Bianca's head off. Why is she saying that? We said the same thing when they were trying to change Dom's history with Rhea. I mean, that's why I say I don't feel sorry for Io and Bianca fans. I feel sorry for the wrestler, but not the fans, because we've been telling people this. We told them they were rewriting history. We were telling them that they're going to get double stacked. I would not be surprised at WrestleMania that they don't get double stacked. Y'all think really that Io and Bianca are going to walk out of WrestleMania with the championship? With the way Rhea has been booked? Rhea probably only lost the title now just so they could get Io into it. And there was a whole bunch of other ways, unconvoluted ways of getting the triple threat match without doing Rhea losing the title. You see what I mean? So we have all this. For what? Like, I'm thinking about the well being of Liv and Dom being exhausted, doing all this, and just so maybe, just maybe, they can get on a WrestleMania card some kind of way. But anyhow, I digress. It's just one of those things that just really annoys me when I see people busting their ass. Like Cody Rhodes, at least I know he gets something with his booking, but with Liv and Dom, it's so iffy and so up in the air. Like you're just hoping that this pays off for them. And just one more Rhea note, just before I segue into the other things. Um, it is really funny how the Rhea and Dom stands were really upset with this photo shoot, and I'm like, there, you know who the problem was with y'all, why they didn't get this content with Rhea and Dom, because they could have easily gotten this content when they went to Australia, Rhea and Dom, but they didn't. There's only one person that could have stopped that, maybe two, Rhea and Buddy, because it's obvious that Dom does not have a problem doing this type of work. So if you want to be upset about not getting this content, the buck stops with Rhea. She wanted to be presented a certain way, so and she didn't want to cross a certain line. Okay, fine, you didn't get the content, so you can't be mad at Dom because Dom has gone off and he's looking good. Now see how Liv and Dom look more like a couple here. Compare what happened with Rhea and Dom in Australia to Liv and Dom in Las Vegas and Liv and Dom in India right now. It is night and day. They're more coupley. They look gorgeous. We didn't get that with They didn't get that with um Rhea and Dom in Australia. And I know that they were clamoring for these types of stuff. Like I said, I was a part of Rhea and Dom because they had some really cute moments. I mentally checked out at the Ultimatum. This full disclosure right here. Because I did like it. But then again, like I said to in my group chat today, like, hey, I like fucked up stuff sometimes. I was a fan of Kane and Lita. To tell you how I like certain things, I was a fan of Kane and Lita because that wedding was awesome. If you know, you know. I won't get into all the semantics on that, but you do like certain things, and you like it, and you can like things, you can like the dynamic, and then also acknowledge that it was fucked up. And Rhea and Dom were fucked up, but I enjoyed it for what it was until it started turning. It started turning to where it was not beneficial to Dom, and when it starts turning like that, then I'm not. I'm out. It's kind of like the same thing with Lita and them, where if once he gets to a certain point where it's not beneficial, I'm out. And that's what happened with Rhea and Dom because they wanted to pull something with Rhea and Dom, and it just wasn't working anymore. Because as soon as they did that ultimatum, everything changed. Like if they had not done that ultimatum, you might still have Rhea and Dom right now. But since they pulled that, because I think they were really trying to go, I really think they were trying to do like a really Rhea like girl power moment. Like she's the boss, she's girl boss, she's in control. But it backfired so hard because people were like, "What the fuck? Why was Damien throwing Dom under the bus when he didn't do anything?" And then Damien was supposed to be there and he wasn't. So why is Dom getting the blame? It backfired so hard. You should have been online when that happened because they had to do a really quick about face. They had to do like a TikTok or something just to like calm people down. And then but then after that it changed. The dynamics changed. But so like I said, it's just really funny just to see people melting down over this Liv and Dom content because, y'all could have had it, but y'all need to be blaming Rhea for it. And for those that people that say that views do not matter, the pictures on Instagram for Liv and Dom are at 6 hours in. They're at they are at 500,000 views. Now India, they are really deep into kayfabe over there, so they're eating all this content up. Like we're people on the internet for us, we're like called the SMARK, SMARK, SMARK fans. So we know what's kayfabe, what's not kayfabe, and we discuss all that. But with India, they're deep into kayfabe, like super deep. And so Live and Dom pictures, Live and Dom content are at like 500,000 views already. So probably by the time things roll around tomorrow, it'll be at 1 million views. You know how they were just trying to keep like that Live and Dom content off what was it, YouTube? You remember that time where Liv kind of snatched Dom off to go do something, and we were kind of geeking about it, and we were waiting for them to put it online because we really wanted to see how their views compared to like Rhea and Nia Jax at that moment. So we go online. They posted like Rhea and Nia stuff like twice, but then they fully skipped the Dom and Liv like segment, and people are like, "What the fuck? How are you gonna skip a whole segment that actually had some development?" Because Chad Gable was in there, which advanced the whole Chad Gable Chad owing Dom a favor. So you had some storyline progression there. You had the storyline progression of Dom stepping up for Finn because Finn was out because he lost to Damien previously. So Dom was stepping up for Finn to help JD with the tag team titles. So we had a whole bunch of storyline progression in that one segment, and they weren't putting it up. Other people were putting up that segment, and when other people put up that segment, it was getting all the views, like thousands and millions of views for that one segment that the WWE itself refused to put up. And then when they did put it up, they focused on Carlito. Like normally you would want to list the people that get you the views. Like if it was gonna be Liv and Dom, you'd be like Liv Morgan and Dominik Mysterio on TikTok and YouTube Shorts and YouTube. Like that's how I do stuff when I'm labeling stuff on my channels. But they didn't do that. They did it with Carlito. And people were like, how can you label their segment? And then it wasn't even the full segment. It was like they cut out Chad's stuff, and people were saying, well, maybe they were trying to say it's like due to Ray Phoenix or something like that. I'm like, well, you could still put it up. I mean, it's not like he spoiled anything. You could still have it where Chad was there. You could edit it where you could just say Chad owes Dom a favor. And when they put up the segment, it was all about Carlito. And then that's when people really started getting keyed into some things because we're like, okay, the WWE ain't slick. because they kept trying to keep posting things and things and things about Rhea to get these views, and then they finally got like a thing that cracked like 1 million with Rhea. But anytime they post anything of Liv and Dom, it gets the views. Like you go on TikTok, you post something like some of this Liv Dom stuff right now, they put it on TikTok. It's probably gonna crack 1 million views because that's just how it is. Like what was it? The one where it was when Finn and JD lost the tag titles, and you saw like Liv and Dom's reaction to it. That was 1 million views, over 1 million on TikTok. So the views matter. So I don't get why people are just saying like, well, then the views don't matter. Yes, they do. The views matter. Ratings matter. Views matter. Because if you're getting the views, that says that the people like you. Now they may not like how the narrative is going because the WWE wants to push who they want to push, but the views matter. Don't let anybody tell you differently. But since I got a little bit more time, I want to talk about a little bit of this storyline. So I came up with this Tiffany epiphany today. Somebody was talking about how Dom is kind of eye rolling when Finn is saying like, I can go for the IC title. I kind of missed that on Monday, but Dom is kind of eye rolling, and it got me to thinking about what Carlito said the previous like 2 weeks ago. Carlito said to Dom when Dom brought up that's getting Penta to join. Carlito said, "Don't you watch the show?" Now, what do we say about cool Uncle Carlito? He speaks the truth. Now, he's a blabbermouth, but he always speaks the truth. Carlito, and I started thinking, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe this is a warning from Carlito to Dom that Finn is watching the show. Remember when during the summer of Liv Dom, Rhea stated that she knows about Dom's socials. So after that, we saw like Dom stop liking like Liv's stuff because he's pretty much got caught right there. So he couldn't just start keep liking Liv's stuff, and then it started being like he was liking Rhea's stuff. I'm thinking this is what's happening here. Dom is playing gullible and happy for Finn on TV because he knows that Finn is watching the TV. Carlito is saying, "Don't you watch didn't you watch the show?" is a warning to Dom that Finn is watching the TV. And why Dom mentions Penta is a test to see how observant Finn is. Now he's not gonna put his plan in jeopardy just because Finn didn't seem observant. Because when Dom mentioned Penta, Finn goes out into a rage about Penta. But the Dom mentioning Penta served two purposes. First, it threw Finn off his game for the Intercontinental Championship match, and then it clued Dom in to, how Finn's in. It clued Dom in to, how Finn's process. So we know that Finn isn't really observant of who Dom is talking to. Because notice if, say, Dom said, maybe, we need to join, like, maybe Ludwig. Maybe Finn would have came back, but I saw you talking with Karrion Kross and Pete Dunne. So Penta kind of is like a distractionary move because if anything, if Finn was actually a good stepdaddy, and he had been for a while, if Finn was actually a good stepdaddy, he would know that Dom does not like masked luchadors. So that should have keyed him in onto what Dom was doing. But since Finn is so focused in on himself about wanting to be the leader and wanting to be a champion, he missed it. So now Dom just sees now like, okay, Finn may be noticing some things, but if I keep playing this gullible character, that'll keep Finn off his guard. And I have to keep playing it on TV because Finn is going to be more, especially after Dom cost Finn the championship, Finn is going to be more observant. So Dom has to play this gullible character. And like I said before, Dom playing this gullible character gets Liv to move and as Scrap Daddy for the match, so Dom's hands is clean. So when Dom is inserted into the match, Finn is probably going to be thinking that Dom is just going to be there to help him win the title. Because Dom is still playing this character that's just happy for Finn and happy for the Judgment Day and just wants to keep his family together. So that's just my current theory on that. So just because Dom was playing somebody happy, and I know people were wanting more of a um, more something definitive from Dom. I think he has to kind of keep playing his character, kind of like how we had to suffer for that month between Rhea coming back and SummerSlam last year. We're probably gonna have to suffer these couple of weeks until WrestleMania, until until the turn happens, just because Dom has to play that role until it's time for him to strike. But anyway, I got a few more minutes. Let me answer some questions. I thank y'all all for the likes. Thank y'all for joining me. This was just really, really impromptu. Alex says we are eating as Liv and Dom fans. We really are. We got a lot of content, and I am so happy for that content. Like I said, this was needed after this week, and hopefully this coming up week we'll start to see we'll see some more development for Liv and Dom. Oh, by the way, did y'all notice that Cole and Pat McAfee shifted their conversation regarding Dom? They started, Cole was reluctantly giving Dom his props. Like, he was still saying, like, yeah, he's a bad dude, but I gotta give him his props. And Wade Barrett was like, wow, you're really saying it? I was like, how bad did that taste coming out of your mouth? And Cole was like, it is. So we do see that. Alex says we need to blame Triple H, and yeah, I answered that. And Alex was saying nothing about your match regarding Rhea. Yep. I'm kind of running through this because I gotta go pretty soon. Chubby Boy says, talk your shit, Queen. Thank you, Chubby Boy. Alex says Bianca and Becky does more than Rhea for the WWE. They really do. That's why I was saying Bianca does her media stuff, Becky does her media stuff. It's only Rhea that seems like she's not doing anything, and that's really annoying to me, especially when everybody else is busting their ass. Kenji says Rhea's going to complain next week about the DQ, and Adam Pearce is going to give her another rematch. He's probably going to give her another rematch, or Io and Bianca are going to say we want her in the match and just make it a triple threat match. Like, they could have just been done did that. Like I said, stupid people are claiming Rhea's developing a character. Yeah, but like I said, it's so convoluted now that I can't believe the character, because they've written her history so much. Like, who's to believe anymore? Gigi says Dom's tied to become Intercontinental Champion. Triple H better give it to him. That's what we're hoping at WrestleMania. Flower says Rhea should not be in a match. Liv should be in a match. She should, but we know it's not going to happen. At this point, I don't really believe it unless a miracle happens. Prince Robot says Rhea absolutely does not deserve to have another title match or WrestleMania match. With me, Rhea should not be rewarded for her behavior. If they want to give her true character growth, she shouldn't be in the match. Like, she can be on WrestleMania, but not in the title match. Prince Robert, with that out of the way, I'm curious to see if she feels Damien needs to make her sane. I don't know. I don't want them back together again because they were insufferable as Terror Twins. Prince Robot says, hey, can we join the Twitter group? I'd like to be around more like-minded people. Okay, you will need to follow me on BX at WMaven WWE. WMAVEN WWE. Follow me there. Send me a DM with your username from the TikTok or YouTube. If I see it and I can mess up your username or I recognize you, I'll let you into the group chat. Because we were talking about all the Liv Dom stuff today. Flower said, I noticed something in Dom TikTok with Australia. Liv was close to Dom while Rhea was there. Yeah, that might be another way of showing that Dom and Liv have a lot more kayfabe history than we know. And I was going to say that maybe now that Finn admitted about the key card, we might start getting more lore drops regarding Liv and Dom now, especially since Rhea's out. Liv and Dom are probably mad about Finn because he talked about their hotel key. I don't think so, because they mentioned it before. It's just now that Finn is saying it on official TV. Kenji says, I know when Dom turns on Finn, at WrestleMania, it's gonna pop like crazy. Yeah. And Bricola says, mommy is on top. Yeah, that comes from a post I did. You're right, Bricola. Jacob says it looks like Money in the Bank will take place the day before Liv's birthday. I'm really hoping Dom wins the Money in the Bank. Kendall says Liv are literally an ATM machine and Ranger is Juggernaut. They really are, and that's why they need to be treated better. Okay. I think that is it. I have got to go. This was impromptu, but I just wanted to get some things off my chest regarding Liv Dom content, Rhea, and my thoughts for the regarding the storyline. I'll be back either tomorrow or Sunday. It depends on what happens this weekend. Most likely Sunday, but I might pop up on Friday. But I gotta go. I appreciate you all. Please join me on the X at WMaven WWE if you want to join my group chat. I'll add you there. But I got to go. Follow me there. Follow me on the YouTube. I'll be there. And if TikTok is banned again, I'll be on YouTube. So I'll talk to y'all guys later. Bye bye for now. Wanted to jump on a little bit because we got another Liv and Dom like dump of stuff from Mumbai. And I'm just gonna chat about it real quick because I got about like 20 minutes. So, hey Tyler, thank you for the likes. Um, so, so waking up this morning again, we get a whole bunch of Liv and Dom stuff from Mumbai, behind the scenes, and interviews. Um, these pictures coming out of Mumbai are gorgeous. Like, they're stunning, unbelievable. Like, this is what we need to be seeing stateside and on TV, like I've always said. But this whole press junket and press tour has just been amazing. Um, I'd like to point out that since Liv and Dom are in Mumbai, that means they're not showing up on SmackDown tonight, which is good. There's some hints of Alexa might show up tonight or Wyatt Six. I want her as far away from that as possible because people are just gonna keep talking shit about that matchup, and it doesn't look like Liv is gonna be um, with that match anyways, looking more like Lyra and Bailey. So I'm just glad that they're away from SmackDown right now. They don't need to even like hint at like Liv and Alexa being in the same area right now. You know, they can save that for after WrestleMania. Also, did y'all see the lore dump lore dump that hit from the Liv and Dom interviews today from Mumbai? Dom said that it was Finn who bailed him out when he got arrested. Now, when Dom got arrested, this was around Christmas time of 2022. And that's when we had the arrested, and that's when we got the birth of Prison Dom, and then that shifted into Dirty Dom, and now he's Daddy Dom. But that's where Prison Dom got his start. So, we get the lore dump of Finn bailing Dom out of jail. What does this mean? First of all, they are tying a lot of history right now between Finn and Dom. So they're going to be going into this history leading into WrestleMania and probably coming out of WrestleMania. Now, why is this lore dump important? Because I went back and checked out Raw Talk January 2nd, 2023. If y'all have Peacock, if y'all have Netflix internationally, go watch the Raw Talk. It's probably going to be on Peacock only, but if you have Netflix, go see if you have it. They're on the international feeds. Raw Talk, January 2nd, 2023. I went back to check it because I know that it was Finn, Rhea, and Damien talking about Dom's rest. So I went back to look at it to see if they retconned anything or changed anything or anything like that. So, no, to my surprise, they did not retcon anything anything in that lore dump from today. So everything that Dom said today is true. Nothing is contradictory. In that Raw Talk, Finn said how he was so upset about Dom getting arrested that Angie, Dom's mom, should have been arrested, and this is a miscarriage of justice. Damien, in his bro code violating days, said he knew a guy named Tony from New York that was going to help them out to help them get Dom out. I'm still saying that's Tony D'Angelo from that little bit, so I'm thinking that's still going to get tied. He's going to get tied into Dom some kind of way again because they have interacted before, Dom and Tony D. But it shows that it was Finn upset about Dom and he was talking about how Angie got arrested. You know what the surprising thing is? I remember watching this when this happened, like that Raw talk, but I didn't peep at the time, and this is 2 years ago, mind you. I did not peep at the time that Rhea did not bail out Dom. So I'm sitting here thinking now. So okay, so you know encouraged Dom. Dom, you know, was starting shit with Ray, and he was a little shit, like no question about it. Dom was being a little shit. So you instigated a lot of that stuff. You know, boasted of Dom's confidence. You did all this. And then Dom gets arrested, and you have that crash out moment, but you didn't contribute to Dom getting bailed out. So it was Finn and Damien in his pre-Broco violating days that got Dom out, not Rhea. And if you look at that Rhea, if you talk about that, if you look at that Raw talk after Finn was talking about Dom getting arrested, and they kind of talked about Montez and Dave Montez and Angelo Dawkins when they failed to go up against the Bloodline, when the Bloodline still had the undisputed tag team championships. Rhea was talking more about that, and I was like, that completely flew out over my head. So even then, Rhea was still caring more about titles and potential titles for Judgment Day than her own boyfriend or supposed boyfriend. And I'm like, okay, that tracks. That really tracks. And they can't, and again, that's one of those things that you can't contradict. So again, this history is going to be important for the Finn and Dom moments. We're going to get lore dumps about how Finn and Dom have been thick and thin. Finn has been the stepdaddy who stepped up. He's always been there for Finn. And with this lore dump, again, this makes why Dom is being so hesitant to pull the trigger on Finn and turn on him, because now it looks like Dom is being absolutely positively sure that Finn is being a jackass and Finn is doing this out for his own benefit and not looking out for him before Dom pulls the trigger. So we're going to get some gut punches and heartstrings being pulled with this when Dom pulls the trigger, because you're going to have that history there. And that's good. I mean, they do have a history. You can go all the way back to when Dom debuted in the pandemic era. You can go back to when Finn was around before he turned heel and joined Judgment Day. You can see them when there. And then during Judgment Day, we've seen Finn and Dom just having this, you know, dad and son relationship. So it's nice that they're going to be pulling this history into their feud. And like I said, I don't think this feud ends at WrestleMania. It's going to go throughout WrestleMania, and I would not be surprised if it lasts all the way to Money in the Bank or even SummerSlam. You can do a feud like that with Dom and Finn, especially if you reference the history. And again, this goes to show why you need the history, because the pro wrestling history, especially if you have years and years of pro wrestling history, it makes storylines better, especially if you reference it and don't think that your audience are idiots. Because now, when I reference this history, I can go back and look at it. And it's like, oh yeah, this happened. They're not retconning, and now I'm seeing how Rhea's character was at the time, when she was just caring more about titles than Dom being arrested and getting him out. Oh hey Nancy. So yeah. It was a really good lore dump there. I am expecting more lore dumps. Also, with the interview with Liv and Dom, Dom's still thinking that he's not good for the IC title. Liv is not having it, and I'm still showing that Dom is playing dumb. This is Dom playing like his gullible character, and the one where he doesn't think he's worthy of anything. This is playing into Finn's ego. Because now that Finn thinks that he has Dom where he wants him, where Dom will just do anything for him, well, Dom is just sneaking his way through the back door. Like, he's going to sneak in through the match, and then probably when he gets announced as a part of this multi-man Intercontinental Championship match, this will probably seal the deal for Finn, because we can gauge Finn's reaction to this. Like, if he reacts horribly, then we know that Finn is really not long for his world, because that's probably going to seal the deal for Dom to turn on him at WrestleMania, because I don't see this happening before. And we've got a little bit more lore dumps with Liv and Dom, just how they're acting. It's really cool. I encourage y'all to find a lot of these the Indian interviews with Dom and Liv. They straight up roasted somebody. Who is that from Sportskeeda? I think they roasted them. They were giving out little tidbits regarding Finn, and then it was like Liv killed off the Liv Finn fans because we always had Finn livers that think that Liv was going to turn on Dom to get with Finn, and she killed that off by she saying that Liv said that Dom was her boyfriend, not Finn. So there you go. So yeah, check out the interviews. Check out the lore dump. I encourage you to look at Raw Talk to make your own opinion about that. It's January 2nd, 2023. If you want to look up that Raw Talk where Finn is talking about bailing Dom out of jail. See, this is why I call my podcast Wrestling Receipts, because I can do that and go back and look, and and I like to cross check things. And when it comes to wrestling history, you know that they have to know that fans are going to cross check that. That's why Rhea was just so why it was so infuriating with Rhea, because they wanted to change it even though we saw it, and that was like Vince McMahon era type adjustments to history, because he would do that, and it was just so infuriating because we always would see, like, we just saw this like a month ago. Why are you trying to change what happened? So that's why Rhea is just was so infuriating with them trying to change her history, and then they wouldn't change it for like Roman or anybody else. It was only Rhea that got her history changed. Everybody else kind of just rolled with the punches. Like, you got see how we have like 10 years of history with CM Punk and Seth and Roman Reigns. That's what makes that match and that feud interesting, because they can keep going back to it. So we're gonna do the Raw preview on Sunday night. Usually Scrap Daddy is usually posting what's happening on Monday, on Sunday afternoon, morning, something like that. So we'll know what the card is on Monday regarding that. We'll also probably finally get a final direction with Liv. I'm hoping and praying they just make that an Intercontinental match. I don't want that to be tagged. The tag really does not make sense. At least with IC, you can kind of see it, because Liv could shoot her shot in there and like interrupt Bayley's match with Lyra and go from there. A tag with Lyra and Bayley just feels really thrown together in a here damn match, and there's no reason to have them go after a tag when you can go after Lyra's belt. Like, Lyra's belt should have more importance than tag at this particular moment. Like, you want to showcase that belt. Tag can wait. Tag, you can have multi-man women #1 contender and just roll from there. Do that one on one, like do a #1 contender for the tag on one night, do the IC on another night, have Liv go ahead and win the title, the IC title at WrestleMania. Dom wins the IC title at WrestleMania. They're matching title belts, they're a power couple. And then if you want to do like Monday after WrestleMania, you can have Becky return, and then Liv and Becky get started up that feud, and then Liv has to deal with anybody who's coming for the tag team with Raquel. So she's like double busy there, and then Dom could be dealing with the fallout of turning on Finn, taking over Judgment Day, or creating La Familia, whichever one they want to decide, and any new members. I'm also hoping if they go IC that they bring in Roxanne. I'm really wanting Roxanne with Liv and Raquel, because whatever I'm seeing on NXT, like NXT, Roxanne lost to Kalani Jordan. I love Kalani Jordan, but why is Roxanne losing? She shouldn't be losing. Like, her swan song should have been putting over Giulia and maybe Jordan Grace, and then that's it. Like, she should be out of NXT at this moment. She should be on the main roster, and if she's not going to be on the main roster right now, then just keep her off TV right now.